there, this is Ishita Agarwal and welcome back to Text Connect, a learning center for textile. So this video is in continuation with the previous video on winding. So we had already discussed the functions and the parts of the winding machine. So today we'll be discussing each of them in detail.
As we have seen in the previous video, piecing is done to join or piece two ends of the yarn, which is done either by knotting or splicing. So now in the process of knotting, the joining is done by putting a knot. Now this can be put either manually or with the help of a machine called the mechanical knotters. So when a knot is put manually, it is bigger in size and becomes a problem in weaving and knitting. To avoid these faults, the mechanical knotters are used. Now the knotter head has two clamps that sucks both the ends and knots the yarn. After the knots are put, the extra tail ends are sheared by the shearers. Now these tail ends should be of minimum 2.5 mm length or else the knot will open. Now the most widely used knots are the weaver's knot and the fisherman's knot. So the weaver's knot is used for the cotton yarn. But in case of synthetic yarns, the weaver's knot slip and hence the fisherman's knots are preferred. So the best knot is the one which gives the least slippage and prevents end breakage under working conditions. Now moving on to the splicing technique. So this is said to be the new technique for piecing up the broken ends. The joining of two ends is done through a medium like air or water. So the two methods of splicing are wet splicing and air splicing. So in wet splicing, the winders carry a trough of water hanging around the neck. So the two broken ends of the yarn are overlapped with each other and applied with water. Now if this is done automatically in a machine, then the water jet principle is followed. Compared to air splicing, this method is being used less. Now talking about air splicing, here the process is completed in two stages. So in the first stage, the two broken ends are passed through suction holes provided in the splicing unit. Further, these ends are untwisted and the fibers are now free. Now in the second stage, these broken ends are placed overlapping in an inclined slot. Now the joining process is achieved by jets of air acting on the fibers. Now talking about the advantages of splicing over knotting. So here there are no tail ends as in knotting and so no shearers are required. The yarn produced is more even compared to knotting and hence the weaving performance is also improved as it will pass through reed wires easily. Now there will be less needle breakages during the knitting process and as a result the fibers produced using spliced yarn have a superior quality. Now talking about the disadvantages of splicing, so the yarn strength is reduced by 10% and the initial cost of setup is very high. Now moving on and let's discuss about the slub catcher. So the slub catcher or the yarn clearer is a device that detects and removes yarn faults according to the set value. So these settings vary according to the yarn type and the diameter. So the faults removed by a slub catcher are the thick and thin places. Now at a place where the diameter is more than 50% of the actual diameter is called a thick place, and when it is less than 50% it is known as a thin place. Slubs and neps. So slub is a lump or a thick place and the neps are small knot of entangled fibers. The slub catcher also tries to remove any foreign matter or loose fiber. So there are two types of slub catchers, the mechanical and the electronic one. So in the modern winders, the electronic slub catchers are based on two principles, the capacitance principle and the optical principle. So the capacitance system is based on the measurement of yarn mass at a given test length. So when the yarn passes between the parallel plate capacitor, if the mass changes, the capacitance changes, and it is then converted in voltage oscillation. For the optical systems, the diameter measurement is considered. So when the emitter emits light and the receiver detects it, it is converted to proportional electrical signal. So the light received by the receiver depends on the diameter of the yarn, and that will vary in case of any fault. So now in both of these cases, the signals are then amplified and the cutting mechanism is initiated. However, there are some faults that may not be detected by the capacitance based testers, whereas it can be detected by the optical type testers. So if there is a hole within the yarn structure, the mass per unit length remains the same and the capacitance tester will not detect it, but the light that is received by the receiver varies and the optical tester detects the fault. So now let us move on and discuss about the yarn tensioner. So during unwinding from corps to winding on the cones, the tension assembly provides sufficient tension to the yarn so that a compact package is produced. So the tensioner develops sufficient tension on packages and a dense package is formed. So apart from maintaining the desired tension, it also detects excessively weak spots in the yarn as they break under added tension. Now talking about the working principle of the tension device. So the tensioner has a passage for the yarn, and on the left and right are the two discs which have a coil of fire within them. Now when the yarn passes, the lower sensor starts to flow opposite electrons towards these coils. These coils develop a magnetic field and the disc becomes oppositely charged. So they are attracted to each other and this creates the required tension in the yarn. Now when the yarn breaks, the electron flow is stopped and the temporary magnetic field is also discharged. So there always has to be an optimum amount of tension. So when the tension is too high, the yarn gets damaged, the breakage rate may increase and the yarn might elongate. When the tension is too low, unstable or loose packages are formed and the package will not be compact if there is a variable tension and it will be faulty. So now let us discuss about some of the major winding faults. So we do try to make fault-free packages, but there are few faults due to several reasons. So some of the major faults are stitches or jali on the cones or cheeses. So a jali is formed when the yarn is wound outside the boundary of the package. Soft nose or base. So if the pressure between the package and the drum surface is not uniform, then the package may have different density at the tip and the base regions. So higher contact pressure will lead to higher package density and vice versa. So this will produce a soft nose or a base at a low pressure region and will result in a faulty package. So next type of fault that is seen is a yarn slough. So now during unwinding, sometimes several coils slough off. That is, they unwound, and if they are escaped from the yarn clearer, they'll wound on the package. But this package will be a serious problem when considered in the next process. Now the last one is patterning or ribboning. So this occurs when adjacent coils superimpose on one another and it forms a ridge type of structure on the package. So the yarn will not be uniformly distributed on the surface of the package and therefore a satisfactory package would not be obtained. So there are many other types of faults, but these were some of the major ones.
That is it from my side. If you have any doubts, then mention them in the comments below or reach out to us on Instagram or through email. We'll be coming up with a new video very soon. Until then, stay connected, stay fit.